Hello everyone, we have some great news today. Lessons from Meghan Markle, how the Duchess taught her friend to hold a microphone and talked about family rituals. Why is Archie raised by Marcus Anderson and not her father in the new photos of Meghan? The deception of Prince Harry. Love, manipulation, and the ghost of Diana. Meghan Markle's new trend. The 10th PR person of the Duchess quit in 5 years without working a quarter. All this awaits us ahead. In the meantime, let's start with the first news from how Meghan taught her friend to keep a microphone. A little news about Meghan on Sunday morning with a cup of coffee or tea. The Duchess talks a lot about having a lot of friends, the new rich and those who had known her during her studies. However, she somehow does not actively show the latter. But then something happened, and Meghan decided to come to the presentation of her classmate's book. And it turned out epic again. This time, the setting was the Godmother's bookstore in California, where the Duchess of Sussex held a masterclass on humiliating friends under the guise of caring. And then, to diffuse the situation, she took the initiative and told about the rituals that are accepted in their family. Scene 1. Awkward. Imagine a cozy bookstore, smells of expensive paper, beautiful and cozy. On stage is Meghan and her childhood friend Courtney Adamo, who came to present her book about the joyful family nest. A friend, by the way, is quite famous in the UK. She is the co-founder of the popular parenting blog Baby Chino Kid. The topic of the conversation was about Courtney's new family-oriented interior design book, Family Home, inspiring ideas for a home filled with joy. It would seem an ideal. Girlfriends remembering their student days and talking about the design of the family home. Well, something like how to make it convenient when you have children. It's also beautiful and functional. I don't know how these two, even though they've known each other since college, ended up on the same stage or why. But both are familiar with Oprah Winfrey, who is the co-founder of the Godmothers organization and who owns the store where everything happened. Meghan said that she has known Courtney since she was 17 years old, enough to feel comfortable and relaxed next to a friend. While Meghan is teaching her friend how to hold a microphone, I remind you that there is great news ahead. But it's never enough for a Duchess to just be a participant. She needs to be a director, sound engineer, and chief censor at the same time. Courtney was beaming with happiness when she said, "It's an honor for me," as Meghan, with the reaction of a Hollywood bodyguard, intercepted her hand with a microphone. What followed? Chronicles of the Microphone Apocalypse. Physical intervention. Meghan didn't just adjust her friend's hand, she staged a full-fledged seizure, taking Courtney by the wrist and resolutely pointing the microphone directly to her lips, as if she was going to whisper a state secret. If she had done it a little harder, her friend would have been punched in the mouth with a heavy microphone. Why it wasn't possible to just lean over to a friend and tell her, if at all necessary, to hold the microphone a little higher is a mystery. The killer joke, "I can hold it for you," sounded in the dead silence of the hall. This phrase sounded quite categorical and brazen. It didn't look like a joke, but everyone chose to pretend it was funny. Victim's reaction. "It makes me so anxious," Courtney whispered, stunned. She later added a damning remark. "I've performed so many times, but this is the first time I've started to get nervous." Well, of course. Meghan accompanied all this with a theatrical giggle and a demonstrative hug, a gesture perfectly balanced between "I wish you well" and "remember who's in charge here." And then, for some reason, I decided to tell her how different her life was from Courtney's. She grew up on a tulip farm. I didn't grow up on a tulip farm. I grew up in a small 2-room apartment in Los Angeles. You understand, right? This Courtney grew like a hothouse flower. I haven't even learned how to hold a microphone properly. Meghan knows how to do everything, understands everything, even became a duchess. Courtney didn't get her hands on the ill-fated microphone anymore, and part of the evening began when Markle talked about herself. The second scene is informative. Roses, thorns, and a magic blanket. Feeling that the atmosphere was getting tense, Meghan decided to change the record. The stage speech lesson was replaced by a family psychotherapy session in the style of the Sussexes and their magical way of life. Revelation number 1, the rose and thorn ritual. With an important air of discovery, Meghan talked about an ingenious method that should make children speak more than 3 words. Rosa is the best event of the day. The thorn is the worst experience. When everyone gathers at the table in the evening in a large Sussex family of 4, they should tell about 2 events that happened during the day. Everyone has their own rose and thorn, the Duchess is sure. Theoretically, it's cute. Practically speaking, Lilibet's daughter, this incredible personality with a strong character, clearly does not like the method. When asked about her rose and thorn, a 4-year-old girl gives a universal excuse. "My day was just amazing." Here it is, the collapse of Hollywood psychology. Instead of revelations, parents receive a child's equivalent of no comments. Revelation number 2, the cult of the healing plaid. It turned out that there was no ordinary antipyretic in their $29 million house. Not because the pharmacy is too far away, but couriers refuse to go to their area. There are simply easier ways to heal. And there is a magical artifact, a plaid, donated by the owner of the store, Oprah Winfrey. The procedure is simple. If you get sick, you wrap yourself in a blanket charged in a safe space and you heal. Apparently, this is what advanced pediatrics in Montecito looks like, where even a cold requires a ritual approach. Apparently, there was no time to explain what kind of safe place the blanket was being charged in and what exactly it was charged with. But everyone was nodding and smiling. Apparently, they believe in magic. A blissful lecture on 9/11. The highlight of the evening was a sudden lecture on the national tragedy. Remembering how she and Kourtney did not fly to Chicago on the day of the September 11, 2001 attacks, but drove by car, Meghan philosophically concluded, "It made me realize the importance of community and that there's no safer place than your house." It's hard to imagine a more appropriate place to reflect on the terrorist attack that claimed thousands of lives than the patio of a bookstore with a glass of Sauvignon for $45. But this is the very level of tact and propriety that everyone has come to expect from the Duchess. The third scene is commercial. And now an interesting point. Meghan, as it turned out, had her own interest at this meeting to introduce and treat everyone with her wine, which is creaking along. After the conversation, Meghan transformed from a microphone counselor and family psychologist into a hospitable hostess. She led the guests out onto the patio and began treating everyone to wine from her own as-ever line. "I offered to drink to the success of my friend's book. And thanks for that. But she did everything in time. She showed off, taught her friend how to hold a microphone, gave out revelations, and flattered the famous friend and neighbor Oprah Winfrey. Kourtney got a lesson in humility, the guests got awkward memories and a bottle of wine, and Meghan got another confirmation that even among her old friends, she remains a director of photography. And apparently, she's writing the script for only one character, herself. And now we come to the main news for today. But the next news is also no less wonderful, so watch to the end. And where was Harry? Why is Archie being raised by Marcus Anderson and not his father in the new photos of Meghan? Halloween is coming soon, and Meghan Markle has pleased fans with new photos. The family went to the farm to buy pumpkins, then make traditional decorations out of them. Well, what could be wrong with that? Her and Harry, the kids, the pumpkins? But it doesn't. There are no random shots in Meghan Markle's perfectly calibrated world. Every photo that appeared on her Instagram is a complicated PR move, a message encoded in smiles, pumpkins, and the composition of the participants. Another autumn post from the pumpkin farm is no exception. Everyone has already gotten used to the fact that all the participants in the fun are filmed from the back, not only children, but also adults. But then, somehow, the composition of close people suddenly expanded. There's been a lot of Marcus Anderson in their lives lately. He is already literally a relative. Analysis of the pumpkin scandal. Halloween with a third extra. While ordinary families take keepsake photos in which dad helps his son carve a sinister face on a pumpkin, the Sussexers family demonstrates a more progressive model. Marcus Anderson helps the boy with this important task. A constant companion, a shadow, and also the Duchess's best friend. And while this shot is gaining likes, a reasonable, albeit uncomfortable question arises. Where was the child's own father, Prince Harry, at that moment? And why was this particular story chosen for publication rather than another, more traditional one? The situation should be taken apart, like that pumpkin. Meghan and her team had a number of heartfelt shots at their disposal, captured during a visit to the farm. There were shots where Harry gently hugs Meghan, there were moments where he alone carries a pumpkin, and there were, presumably, those where he interacts with his own children. However, the exact moment where 6-year-old Archie is engaged in vegetable carving not with his father, but with Marcus Anderson, was selected for the general public and put on public display. Oh yes, the faces of the boy and the man who looks like Marcus are not visible. But it won't be difficult to find out, which is what the commentators on the network did. Who is this mysterious man who has become an integral part of the Sussex family nest? He was a friend of the Duchess, who, according to the network, was looking for rich patrons for her at the time. But after the wedding, he disappeared somewhere and did not show up next to Meghan. But lately, he's been doing something more often. Paris Fashion Week 2025. The first notable appearance this year without Harry. They came to Paris together and came to the show. Meghan was leaning on Marcus's arm, laughing and whispering something in his ear. Anderson had to pull his ward back. New York 2025. Attends the Project Healthy Minds Gala dinner, sitting at the same table with Harry and Meghan. The photos from the event are eloquent. He is in their inner circle. Pumpkin Farm, October 2025. Now he is no longer with them at a public event, but at a family preparation for the holiday, where they usually take the closest ones. Now he is not just accompanying, he is actively involved in the process of family leisure and apparently in the upbringing of children. This is not a random guest captured in one frame. He is a regular character in the series called Life of the Sussexes in Exile. And his role is becoming more significant with each passing season. From organizer to companion, from companion to family friend, and now, apparently, to participant in family rituals. Why is it not just a friend? An analysis of Meghan's PR strategy. To claim that this was an accident is naive. Meghan Markle leaves no room for accidents in her public life. Every post, every frame, every hashtag is part of a carefully thought-out strategy. Choosing this particular photo for publication is a powerful message. But who is he supposed to tell, and what is he supposed to tell? The experts have compiled their own list. To the world, look at what a modern, progressive family we have. Our circle is open. We are not constrained by outdated conventions. We decide for ourselves who is close to us. To Buckingham Palace, your rules and your notions of propriety no longer exist for us. We have created our own reality with our own cast of participants. To fans, here it is, an authentic, unadorned life. It's just us, our children, and our Marcus. Perhaps this is the Montecito they talked about so much, a place where you can rewrite all the rules, where a mother's friend can participate equally in the upbringing of her children, while the biological father is somewhere in the background, busy with his own affairs. Well, or enthusiastically carves a pumpkin. Maybe even Archie was standing next to him, but for some reason, Meghan still posted a photo of her son with another man. Harry, the father, is on the sidelines. What was the Duke himself doing at that time? And Harry was busy, very. He worked intently with the pumpkin, demonstrating that he could be an independent creative unit. Perhaps in this new family model, such a distribution of roles suits everyone completely. Meghan chooses stylish images, Marcus raises children, and Harry has finally found his calling in carving. The most striking thing about this story is not the behavior of Marcus or Meghan, but Prince Harry's tacit, almost Benedictine patience and acceptance of this new reality. Where is that rebellious prince who rushed to protect his family from the slightest whiff of criticism? Where is the man who renounced his homeland, titles, and family for the sake of his wife and children? Now he dutifully accepts the role of the second or even the third plan in the carefully directed play of his own life. He's in the photo, somewhere in the background. He holds Meghan's hand in a beautiful but static shot. But when it comes to a key, evocative moment for his son, co-creating a Halloween symbol, another man enters the scene. Not the boy's uncle, not his grandfather, but a man closer to the family, Marcus. And Harry agrees with that. Isn't that the main mystery of Montecito? Expensive simplicity and Doria's sudden return. Against the backdrop of this strange PR game, other details are almost lost. For example, the fact that for a simple and relaxed walk around the farm, Meghan shows an image with a total cost of about $1,600. A9 Bing jacket for $400, CO leather boots for $1,195. Meghan once again showed simplicity and closeness to ordinary people. That's what she thinks. Or the sudden appearance of Doria Regland in the frame. After months of rumors that Meghan's mother, tired of the constant nagging and drama, distanced herself from her daughter, she suddenly materialized on a pumpkin farm. And again, the familiar shot. Doria is sitting with her back to the camera and also conjuring a pumpkin. Halloween works wonders. It not only scares away evil spirits, but also, apparently, temporarily reconciles relatives for the sake of a beautiful frame. Although there is another opinion here, Christmas is coming, and Meghan has a festive edition of the show coming out which should interrupt the projects of King Charles and Kate Middleton. But the Duchess has long been accused of planning to show a family holiday and teach everyone how to celebrate Christmas. But she has only Harry and her children among her close people. There is still no peace with my father. I had to drag my mother back on stage, so far only from the back. The new Sussex family, now with a third adult, or fourth if you count Doria, it remains to recognize the obvious. The traditional family model as we know it is not in favor in Montecito. The Sussexes are creating their own, an expanded, inclusive one, and they absolutely don't care what people at Windsor Castle think about it. Well, or vice versa. They made sure to annoy everyone as much as possible. Marcus Anderson is not an accident or a mistake of editing. This is an element of their new identity that has been consciously introduced into the public space. Perhaps he is their personal manager, perhaps a spiritual mentor, or perhaps his role is much more complex and multifaceted. There are many options online. From Meghan's lover to the prince's heart friend, there are also such opinions. But the main thing is that he is the one who has to get these two out of the financial and media pit they seem to be in. Well, if it doesn't work out, find Meghan another patron. There are many opinions. But one fact is undeniable. The next time Meghan and Harry talk about family values, it's worth remembering that by family, they don't just mean themselves and their children. Another permanent tenet seems to be firmly established in their inner circle. And while Harry is cutting his pumpkin, having fun and enjoying the process, this same tenet helps his son form childhood memories. Well, congratulations on new family traditions. The Deception of Prince Harry. Love, Manipulation, and the Ghost of Diana. A drama worthy of a Shakespearean tragedy unfolds in the quiet corridors of the British royal court and on the sunny terraces of California. But unlike the plays, the tears here are real, and every kiss can be a coldly calculated move in a complex chess game. Lady Colin Campbell, an author with half a century of experience studying royal families, looks at current events with the anxiety of a connoisseur. "I feel something is wrong," she shares. The messages being broadcast by Harry and Meghan's entourage are so thoughtful that they make me wonder if their public dissatisfaction with each other is a carefully planned performance. Her skepticism has good reason. Can a person who understands the psychology of manipulators believe that a couple who have reached the heights of mastery in media management will demonstrate real differences in public? Only if it suits their interests. The roots of paranoia. The ghost of Lady D. The most disturbing thing, according to Lady Campbell, is playing on Harry's darkest fears. Meghan actively supports his paranoia about the death of Princess Diana, says the expert. She hints that the royal family may be involved in that tragedy, which means it poses a threat to Harry himself. This is not just speculation. In private conversations, according to insiders, Meghan explicitly states, "I can't put myself and the children in danger. Until the royal family provides us with reliable protection, a trip to Britain is impossible. Who knows what might happen again?" Psychological portrait of a relationship. A doctor of psychology specializing in narcissistic relationships explains this dynamic. In unions where one partner has narcissistic traits, there is often a pattern of constant mood swings. One minute, tenderness and support; the next, coldness and criticism; and half an hour later, as if nothing had happened. It's an exhausting emotional roller coaster ride. Lady Campbell, who grew up in a similar atmosphere, confirms. The dominant partner gradually begins to set the rules of the game, and the second, even being intellectually developed, uses his mind to deceive himself and justify what is happening. Manipulation as an art. Eyewitnesses describe scenes that could be included in a textbook on the psychology of manipulation. She can curl up on the floor sobbing. "Look at what I've sacrificed for you. I was at the top of Hollywood, and now I'm nothing. Protect me. I need safety." And an hour later, he's already shouting, "Get out of my way. You are not coping with your role." This is a classic tactic, creating emotional swings that keep your partner in constant tension and uncertainty. The deceiver's delight strategy. Lady Campbell introduces the term cheater's delight to describe Meghan's behavior. She's not just deceiving the audience, she's deceiving Harry himself. It seems to be a difficult game for her, where everyone is a pawn in a carefully thought-out strategy. The public relations expert adds, "Such people masterfully use the media. They can improvise, but the basic moves are always calculated. They know which strings to strike in order to get the right reaction." What's at stake? Behind all this drama, there are quite material things: the safety of children, financial well-being, and social status. But the most important thing is the mental health of all the participants in this story. According to psychologists, prolonged stay in a toxic relationship leads to stupefaction, a condition when a person loses the ability to think critically and becomes an easy prey for manipulators. The story of Harry and Meghan is far from over. Every day brings new plot twists, but it's already clear. It's not just a marriage of two people. It's a complex intertwining of personal ambitions, unresolved psychological traumas, and struggles for influence. As Lady Campbell said, "Time will tell." In the meantime, millions of viewers around the world are watching this drama, perhaps not realizing that behind the brilliant facade, there may be a human tragedy, the price of which is broken destinies and broken hearts.